I'm Luke, and my girlfriend Catherine and I met 3 years ago as freshmen at Stanford, our dream school. We're both from Ohio, her from Cincinnati, me from near Columbus, which bonded us since most students are Californians. One tradition we've built is splitting Christmas between our families. Her family loves her, so she's always welcome at my place. Since her house is a 2-hour drive from mine, we spend Christmas Eve with my family, who celebrate that night, then drive to her place for Christmas Day. I didn't know most people celebrate on the day itself until I met her. My favorite part, though, is the late-night drive between our houses. The route avoids major highways, winding through quiet back roads, fields, trees, and the occasional farmhouse. It's always late, so we rarely see other cars. It feels like we're alone in the world, blasting Juice WRLD, our shared obsession. Singing together feels like we're perfectly in tune. This past Christmas Eve started normally. After a cozy night with my family, we loaded my car around midnight and set off. Snow fell lightly, the roads empty, music and heat on full blast. Everything was perfect. Until it wasn't. My phone rang, cutting off the music. It was an unknown number, annoying for that hour. I ignored it, assuming it was a scam. Catherine joked about call center workers working on Christmas, and we laughed. But minutes later, another call came. Another unknown number, probably the same one. I let it go to voicemail, and Catherine raised an eyebrow but said nothing. I showed her the screen, and she called it weird. I shrugged it off, and the music resumed. Then the phone rang a third time. Fed up, I grabbed it, ready to yell at whoever was spamming me. Catherine tensed at my reaction, but I was done. I answered sharply, expecting a scam pitch. Instead, there was silence, then faint static. A man's voice spoke, one I didn't recognize. I nearly swerved off the road. He started listing personal details, my full name, address, things no stranger should know. My skin crawled, a nervous itch spreading. I asked what he wanted, trying to sound calm. He paused, then said he wasn't after me. He was after Catherine. Her name in his voice was terrifying, and her shocked expression mirrored mine. I lied, saying I didn't know a Catherine, hoping he'd back off. He chuckled, saying, "Nice try." I pulled over, hands shaking. Catherine grabbed the phone and hung up. I yelled, asking why she'd cut off a threatening call. She looked scared, saying she panicked. I tried calling back multiple times, but it wouldn't connect. She urged me to drive, and I did, but I was furious and confused. Why would she hang up? We drove in silence, no music, her eyes teary. She said she felt unsafe, and I understood. But something felt off. Catherine's told small lies before, and I wondered if she was hiding something, though I couldn't see how she'd be involved. No one called back, but I kept expecting it. Even at her house, I felt uneasy. It's been a month, and we've asked our families. None of them shared our plans. Catherine insists she's as clueless as I am, but I'm not sure. No one else knew we'd be driving that night. I tense up every time my phone rings, certain he'll call again. It's only a matter of time. A few months back, I had an experience that still haunts me. I've been driving for Lyft for years, mostly late-night shifts because the streets are calmer and the tips are decent. But there's a downside to those quiet hours. Every now and then, you meet someone who leaves a mark, and not the good kind. I've always considered myself cautious, handling all sorts of passengers, but nothing prepared me for this. At the time, I didn't have a dash cam, and this night was why I got one. It started like any other shift, just me and the occasional creaks from my trusty 2005 Volvo. The car's old, but dependable. The roads were empty, which I liked. Around 2 a.m., I got a pickup request from a nearby convenience store. Nothing seemed off at first, but as I approached, a strange unease settled in my stomach. As I pulled up, I realized why I felt uneasy. The store was shut down, lights off, parking lot deserted. I slowed down to scan the area and spotted him, a guy pacing outside, dressed in a worn-out hoodie with a visible tear in the sleeve. His movements were twitchy, like he was restless, constantly glancing behind him as if someone was watching. He looked like he might be on something. I should have canceled the ride right then. My finger even hovered over the button, but for some reason, I didn't. I unlocked the doors, and he slid into the back seat without a word. The second I started driving, I regretted it. Most passengers are predictable, on their phones or gazing out the window. Not this guy. He just stared at me through the rearview mirror, unblinking, his eyes locked on mine. His expression had an edge, almost hostile. I avoided looking back, but our eyes met a couple of times, and it sent a chill down my spine. To break the tension, I flipped on the radio, not even noting the station. The second the music started, he barked at me to turn it off, his voice low and gravelly like a heavy smoker. Startled, I swerved slightly but complied, gripping the wheel tighter. We drove in silence for a bit, and I hoped he'd stay quiet until we reached his destination. But then he spoke, and his words hit me hard. He asked if I'd ever picked up someone I shouldn't have. The question felt like a punch. I forced a nervous chuckle and said, "Hope not," trying to keep things light. He didn't respond, just leaned back and mumbled something I couldn't catch. Then he started rambling about how he used to drive for Uber but quit after some kids stole from his car. His words were slurred, hard to follow, but what unnerved me was the creepy smile on his face the whole time. No one smiles like that talking about something upsetting. Then he said, "It's wild how much you trust someone sitting right behind you." That line sent my heart racing. Suddenly, he didn't seem like just a weird guy. He felt dangerous. I focused on the GPS, willing the destination to come faster. He kept talking, a mix of nonsense and disturbing comments, including apologies to someone, definitely not me. He muttered, "I didn't mean it," over and over, followed by frantic, "I'm sorries." I stayed silent, scared of what he might do if I engaged. We were close to his drop-off when he suddenly shouted that I'd missed a turn. I hadn't. The GPS was clear, but I slammed on the brakes out of fear. He demanded I pull over, and I did, hands trembling. I just wanted him gone. As I parked, headlights appeared behind us, a police car. Its spotlight briefly swept over my car, and I saw him slouch down in the back seat, almost lying flat, eyes shut like he was hiding. I kept my breathing steady, not daring to look at him. After what felt like forever, he sat up, muttered, "You got lucky," and bolted out of the car before I could react. I ended my shift early, too shaken to keep driving. Weeks later, I read a news article about a convenience store robbery that night, just 2 blocks from where I picked him up. The thought that I was that close to a criminal still makes me sick. I've considered reporting it to the police, but haven't for personal reasons. I'm not sure it would even matter. Now, I'm way more careful about who I let in my car. After a traumatic experience in the city, I couldn't handle noise anymore. My psychiatrist diagnosed me with phonophobia, a rare condition where sounds triggered a tight, prickly feeling in my chest, like my body was always on edge. Car horns, slamming doors, everything felt like an attack. I couldn't live like that, so 3 years ago, I found a cabin deep in the Pacific Northwest, somewhere in Oregon. I won't say exactly where, for reasons that'll become clear. It was isolated, quiet, with barely any cell service. Perfect for escaping the chaos. The cabin was small but solid, with thick wooden beams and a stone fireplace. It had an earthy smell like pine and old paper, almost soothing. The nearest neighbor was a 10-minute walk down a dirt path through dense woods. For the first few days, I reveled in the silence, birds in the morning, wind in the trees at night. It felt like the world had stopped and I could finally relax. I worked remotely from my laptop, so I didn't need much contact with the outside world. About a week in, there was a knock at the door. No doorbell, just sharp raps. It was my neighbor, an older woman named Michelle, holding a basket of homemade preserves. She was in her late 60s, with long gray hair and intense blue eyes that seemed to pierce through you. She wasn't rude, just direct, welcoming me to the area and practically shoving the basket at me. I took it, unsure what else to do. Her vibe was off, like she didn't deal with people often. She stared at me, waiting for something, but I just thanked her and smiled awkwardly. Then she said something strange. "Keep your lanterns lit, your windows locked, and your mind sharper than your blade." It sounded like a warning, not neighborly advice. I nodded and went inside, waiting until I heard her footsteps fade. Except they didn't for nearly a minute, which creeped me out. That night, a rare Oregon thunderstorm hit. I lit candles, curled up with a book, and enjoyed the flickering power and natural sounds, which didn't bother me like city noises did. But hours into the storm, a loud banging at the door startled me. My chest tightened with that familiar prickly feeling. I grabbed a flashlight and peered through the window pane. It was Michelle, drenched, holding a flashlight. She blurted out that she'd seen someone near my woodpile and thought I should know. Confused, I stepped onto the porch, shining my light into the rain, but saw nothing. I asked if she was sure, and she nodded, her eyes flicking nervously to the woods. She told me to be careful and walked off into the storm without waiting for a reply. I stood there until her flashlight vanished, then locked the door. Her story didn't add up. Her cabin was 10 minutes away. How could she have seen someone by my woodpile unless she was already on my property? Why was she out in a storm? Uneasy, I secured the cabin and stayed alert. The storm calmed and I tried to sleep, but around midnight, a branch snapped outside my bedroom window. I froze, then crept to the window and saw her, Michelle, standing at the edge of the woods, facing away. Her long, messy hair was unmistakable in the moonlight. I ducked before she turned, heart pounding, and waited. When I looked again, she was gone. I couldn't sleep, questioning why she'd warn me if she was the one lurking. Hours later, another knock came, soft this time. I peeked through the pane and saw a burly, bald man with a thick beard. Panic surged. I locked myself in the bathroom and called the police as he started smashing the front door. Glass shattered, wood splintered, and I thought I was done for. He didn't come for me, though, just trashed the living room. The police arrived quickly but found no one. They searched my property half-heartedly and refused to check the woods, saying it was too dense. I begged them to check Michelle's cabin, but when we got there, it was abandoned, untouched for decades. They saw no signs of squatters and dismissed my concerns, saying living in the woods came with risks. I spent one more awful night in the cabin before moving out. Some superstitious friends think Michelle was a spirit protecting me, but I don't believe in that. I think she and the man were squatters, though I still don't understand why she warned me or why they targeted me. I'll probably never know.